Hey everybody, it's Pax. Welcome back to the Edge of the Earth. Scenario 4, the Heart of Madness. But before I go any further, let's take a look at our deck upgrades. So I put this as an end note, I guess a footer, in my last scenario I played. I accidentally recorded one more experience than I should have gotten at the end of Scenario 3, City of the Elder Things. And so the 4 that I got from Fatal Mirage, I'm deducting 1 from. My apologies. Clearly Amanda would not have been able to get both Miskatonic Archaeology funding and Michael Lee, but it is what it is. So what I'm doing for Amanda is I'm upgrading a single copy of Studious, and for Stella, we're dropping a single copy of Madame Lebranche for a Drawing Thin. Scenario 4, the Heart of Madness. The next day, you plumb deeper into the caverns and pits beneath the icy crust of Antarctica. You pass under great archways of obsidian and primordial slate, through ornately carven corridors and enormous, many-pillared halls, down into unknowable and unfathomable depths. The team's leader pulls the group together for one last round of encouragement as you leave the relative safety of the surface behind. All right, everyone. I know these conditions are not ideal, Dr. Kensler begins, but we're close, so very, very close, to getting answers, to making all this effort, all this madness worth something. Just a little further, and we will learn the truth. She sighs. This has been rough, on all of us, but please, bear with me a little while longer. I promise you it will be worth it. Despite the otherwise grim mood, there's a murmuring of agreement among the survivors. You're not about to back down now. Eventually, you come to a familiar fork in the cavern, the same passage you and Ellsworth scouted the previous night. You explain to the others that you felt air circulating through the leftmost passage the previous night, and that it is therefore unlikely to be a dead end. The others give a nod of agreement, and together you venture into what you believe is the correct passage. After setup, before the game begins, the lead investigator may look at the revealed side of any two ancient facility locations in play. Hours pass. Eventually, the passage seems to open into a larger corridor of worked stone, with one final archway making the end of the titanic ramp you have been descending. 5 unfamiliar glyphs adorn the archway, their meaning incomprehensible. The path on the other side seems more like a vast underground subway tunnel than unnatural cavern formation. All smooth, angular stone, punctuated by alien markings, and covered faintly in putrid, multicolored ichor. As you cross under the final archway, you begin to question the truth of this place. You thought it to be a natural cavern at first, but now it is clear the Elder Things, or some other primeval alien force, had a hand in its design. Or are you going about this all wrong? Perhaps they are not the ones cast from afar, intruders upon your home. Perhaps Antarctica, indeed the Earth, was never meant for you or any of your kind. The truth of humanity's insignificance rattles you to your core. Each investigator suffers one mental trauma. Your backpack begins to glow once you enter this region of worked carven stone. In a panic, you toss the pack off your shoulder and back away from it. Once a minute has passed without any change, you approach and carefully open it to reveal a strange, otherworldly crystal you discovered shortly after the plane crash. It seems to be responding to this place, a bright glow and a droning hum emanating from within. It doesn't seem to be dangerous, so you tie the crystal around your waist and use its light to guide you onward. Finally, at the end of this vast chamber, you come to a nexus within the dormant structure, a sealed gateway of immense size, emblazoned with the same 5 glyphs, along with a series of interlocking mechanisms. Channels and grooves mark a path from the door's surface back to each of the 5 glyphs. Beyond the gate, you hear a familiar churning, and the bubbling and frothing of miasma, and the seething of hateful mist. It is beyond this door, one of your party says, and you cannot help but agree. You can feel its presence, or rather, you have felt its presence all along, ever since you set foot on Antarctica. Only now its call is impossible to ignore. It whispers faintly to you. Along the surface of your mind, visions play out. Your wildest dreams and most joyful moments, your darkest desires and hardest struggles. It is a mirage, the mirage, sealed behind this door, likely for eons upon end, watched over, or perhaps even harnessed by those who came before you. But it is escaping bit by bit. The creatures you've encountered and fought are evidence enough of that. The Elder Things know it is breaking free too. They built this place, and now it is abandoned. The investigators must decide. Stay here and study the Great Door to learn more, or there is no time to waste, pass through the gate. Of course, it's our first play through the campaign. We will play both parts of the scenario and proceed to Heart of Madness Part 1. Heart of Madness Part 1. You decide to study the doorway and the many paths that diverge from this vast tunnel in the hope that you can discover a way to stop the entity on the other side from escaping. You believe that the technology used to steal this door is somehow related to these 5 glyphs. Perhaps if you explore the surrounding area, you can find the missing pieces. Proceed to setup. Each investigator may choose one of the available members of the expedition team who's not crossed off to join them. Put the story asset for the chosen character into play in the investigator's play area, yada yada yada. If there's a check mark next to the character's name, instead use the Resolute version. So we're going to be choosing Raould and Dr. Kensler. And Dr. Kensler will be entering play with 2 horror on her from what was previously recorded in the campaign log. The rest of the scenario setup is here. We start in play at the Gate of Iqua, is how I'm going to pronounce it. It starts revealed. The unrevealed site is not used in this part. 15 ancient facility locations are put into play in a pattern matching the next page, but I'll keep reading before I show you what that pattern is going to look like. Set the 5 seal tokens aside. If you're on hard or expert difficulty, you add 1 or 2 doom, respectively. We shuffle the Tekalili weaknesses. We shuffle the remainder of the encounter cards to build the encounter deck, and we're ready to begin. Let's take a look at these additional rules, though. The ancient facility locations, they exist in both encounter sets, and because they come from different encounter sets, they have no encounter sets icon on them, so you have to look at the back side to determine which encounter set they're from. That's fine, I've done that off camera. There are 5 seal tokens that represent important technological artifacts that are needed to contain the madness within the Gate of Iqua. Each seal token has its own symbol as follows. Clearly I don't have a way to pronounce any of these, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do during the scenario. I guess I'll just point to them correctly. Each of them has a dormant and activated side. The activated side is indicated by the glowing highlight around its symbol. Investigators will be instructed when to put seals into play and whether they are dormant or activated. Seals have no inherent game effect. Investigators must discover how to take care of, activate, and utilize these seals to put an end to this madness. When an investigator takes control of a seal, they place it on their investigator card. If an investigator who controls 1 or more seals is eliminated, except by resignation, remove those seals from the game. Those seals are lost forever. As an action ability, an investigator may give control of a seal to another investigator at the same location, or take control of a seal controlled by another investigator at the same location. Hey, that's a benefit over the keys. I think for the keys, you could only pass them off. You couldn't take them from someone else. And finally, location adjacency in the Heart of Madness. During the scenario, locations are arranged in a pattern of spokes and rings. There are 3 rings with 5 locations on each ring, and 5 spokes with 3 locations on each spoke. During this scenario, each location is connected to the location next to it on its spoke, as well as the location next to it on its ring. But let's just take a look at that really quickly. So as you can see here, the Gate of Iqua is in the center, and then you've got 5 spokes going outwards and 3 rings. What's going to happen on my table, because my table is nowhere near big enough to arrange them like this, each of the rings is going to be a row, so there's going to be 3 rows, and each of the spokes is going to be a column. There's going to be 3 columns, and the rows are going to wrap around. The rings are going to wrap around just like they do on this map. And let's just get right to the table so I can kind of show how that looks. Okay, so here we are at the table. This is our central location, the Gate of Iqua, and then outwards are like this, and like this, and like this, right? This is the outermost ring, this is the second ring, this is the innermost ring, and the outside locations are connected to each other in a ring like they would be if this were done up in a web. So that's kind of the explanation of the map there. We'll quickly do our opening hand with Amanda. I've shuffled the absolute bejesus out of these decks because I actually recorded all that other stuff a couple nights ago, and I tend to absent-mindedly shuffle whatever I've got in front of me when I'm watching TV shows or anything on my computer. So I've shuffled the ever-living hell out of these, so let's just do our opening hand. We get an extra one with Studious. So it's 6 cards for Amanda. Day of Retribution, and Medical Student. Okay, Dream Diary starts in hand. That's really nice. Don't think we really need some of this stuff quite so early, so I'll definitely be getting rid of at least 1 Medical Student. But let's also take a look at what Stella's getting. Do her opening hand. 5 cards. And she gets a meat cleaver, a scavenging, a rabbit's foot, a fight or flight, and a wooden sledge. That is a very good opening hand. We'll definitely be keeping these 3. I think I'll toss the fight or flight and the wooden sledge and see if we can get something else. Wooden sledge is a little tempting, actually. But I think I'm going to go for those 2. Those will be our cards for Stella. And since I've got the meat cleaver on Stella, I might go ahead and just turf this overpower, this promise of power. The vicious blow will probably be good enough for fighting someone. We'll get 3 cards total. Practice makes perfect. A shortcut. And a lab assistant. Pretty good opener for Amanda. We'll take a look at what we got in Stella. Manual dexterity is fine. And look what I found. Pretty good. Alright, let's shuffle these in. Right. So those are our opening hands. Let's take a quick look at the agenda and the act. The agenda is the Beating Heart. 5 darkened paths lead away from the gateway through icy caverns, down vaulted corridors of smooth black stone. Quiet dread fills the ancient dormant structure. If 2 or more activated seals are controlled by the investigators at the same location, the latent energy stored within the seals fuses together, and the ensuing chain reaction sets off an electrostatic detonation that destroys all life on Earth. R3. 5 doom threshold. Oh, you know what? I just noticed that I failed to put on one of my lamps in my room. Just stick that on there. Makes it a bit easier for me to see. It doesn't do a whole lot to the video, but it makes it a lot easier for me to read cards. Now, for our act, we've got Dormancy. You have decided to explore the rest of this antediluvian complex in order to find the devices that fit this strange doorway. Objective: if an activated seal is placed in the gate of Yikaw, advance. Great. Now for our bag, we've got Skulls at -1, -3 instead if there's an Ancient One enemy at your location. Cultists are -1 if there's a seal at your location or your location is a mist pylon. Treat this location as a frost token instead. Tablet -3 if you fail, draw the top card of the Dekulele deck. An Elder Thing, a -4. If you fail by 3 or more, place 1 doom on the current agenda. This can cause the current agenda to advance. Wow. We are going to have to be super careful with Stella for this scenario. And I'm just going to do one quick shuffle of this because I have not been shuffling this one absent-mindedly. And for all I know, every single penguin is right slammed next to each other at the very start of the deck again. Hopefully not, but you never know, right? So we're starting at the Gate of Yikaw. It has 2 clues on it. As an action, place an activated seal you control in the Gate of Yikaw. And an action to resign, you retreat hoping you've done enough to seal away whatever lies beyond the gate. If you control 1 or more seals, you retain control of them. One last thing before I get going for my opening turn is I get to look at 2 locations because we scouted the way forward or whatever it is. So I think in the interest of getting some information about what's farthest away from me, because these are all very close, it takes me very few move actions to get to them, I'm going to look at some things that are very far away and get an idea of what's in these ancient facilities. Now, these all have the same quote on the back. Other apertures were undoubtedly connected with bygone mechanical facilities, heating, lighting, and the like, of a sort suggested in many of the carvings. Ceilings tended to be plain, but had sometimes been inlaid with green soapstone or other tiles, mostly fallen now. H.P. Lovecraft, The Mountains of Madness. And this is the Limestone Caverns. This is a forced effect. After the Limestone Caverns is revealed, you place a dormant seal on it, which is this one here, this one that looks a bit like a pitchfork. So we know that that's going to be up there, and I'm just going to place it there for my own remembrance there. Investigators at the Limestone Caverns spend 1 clues per investigator and 3 resources per investigator as a group to take control of the seal on the Limestone Caverns. Okay, no clues on there. So that's a really easy one to get. Great. And I'll just look at the location right next to it as well. This is the Undercity Altar. After the Undercity Altar is revealed, place the dormant, this guy on it. I don't even know what you call this. 3 dots and a funky CD. Test 2 willpower to break the Ancient Ward. If you succeed, investigators at the Undercity Altar may take 1 per investigator clues as a group for you to take control of the seal on it. Okay, great. So that one's really easy for Stella to get on a quick learner test. So I know where 2 of the seals are. I just need to figure out how to activate them to be able to place them on the Gate of Iqua. And after I've activated one, I have to be very careful for both of my investigators to not be at the same location again. So, bam, that's the intro. Let's take a look at the opening card that Amanda gets. An Overpower, and she needs to stick something underneath her. Well, I think for the sake of simplicity, we don't really need to heal with the med student right now, and I think I'm just going to be doing some setup this turn, for the most part. We're going to go ahead and put the medical student underneath her. Okay. And we'll just go ahead with her first as well. So she's going to play her lab assistant for 2 resources. Gets her 2 draws, a deduction, and an overpower. Okay. We're going to play our Dream Enhancing Serum for 2. Put that right there. I'm going to put the Essence of the Dream underneath it to try and help myself remember to actually take that once in a while. And then last action, I think we're just going to move out of here. And try and get a bit more information about what the map is. We're going to save the shortcut for when we need it a bit more. Because we're not over hand size right now, so not a big deal. If I need these clues, I can easily get them with Stella, because it's only 1 shroud. So let's just go ahead and move to this location right here. This is a 2 shroud subnautical sprawl. 2 shroud, 2 clues per investigator, so 4 clues total. Treat the modifier of the first frost token revealed during each skill test of the subnautical sprawl as a -3 instead of a -1. Limit once per round. Okay, and that'll be Amanda's first turn. For Stella, we're going to go ahead and play our Rabbit's Foot for 1 resource. We're going to go ahead and play the Meat Cleaver for 3 resources, and I just tossed that resource successfully off of my table. So I'm going to go fetch that in a moment. And then I think I'm just going to go ahead and investigate once. Obviously against a difficulty of 0, because it's my 3rd action of the turn. Just get some of these clues early where it's easy to get them, I suppose. Might be useful. Elder Thing, I obviously didn't fail, so I get 1 clue. Okay, so we both ready up. We'll draw a card for Amanda and gain a resource. Whispers from the Deep. Well, hopefully we don't have anything too important next turn. And for Stella, we get a Waylay. Okay, that's good. And a resource. No money, so to speak of, but at least we've got that going for us. So we'll get our first Doom on the agenda. Whew. And let's take a look at this very first card for Amanda. Great Albino Penguin. Aloof. There's an additional cost for you to enter or leave this location. You must spend an action. So I'm just going to kind of put him underneath her. And then Stella gets Nebulous Miasma. Attached to your location. When you end your turn at the attached location, each card you control with Sanity, including your Investigator, takes a direct horror. Well, that's going to be a really easy one for us to get away from. So we're just going to do that. The Medical Student gets discarded from underneath her. She unfortunately puts this Whispers from the Deep underneath, but not a big deal. Because, you know, there's not a whole lot going on in her turn once again. I think I'm just going to be doing a bit of exploring and maybe getting away from this albino penguin if possible. I did forget to draw a card. So we'll see what that is. It's a green soapstone. Okay. That'll be useful to get out. It'll help us with our damage dealing forays. We'll go ahead and start with Stella. I think I'm going to first action attempt the investigate. So I'm attempting 2 against 3. There's like a very faint possibility that I succeed at this, but I'm mostly hoping to fail just to get a bit of card draw and a bit of extra actions at -2 difficulty. If you fail by 3 or more, place a Doom on the current agenda. This can cause the current agenda to advance. That is a major bummer. But I also get to trigger my Rabbit's Foot and get an extra action. So we'll look at the top 3 cards of the deck. Drawing Thin, Small Radio. Let's get that small radio. I think, no, we're taking drawing thin. What am I talking about? Of course we're taking drawing thin. Pretty big bummer to have drawn that. And I think that I'm going to have to be really careful with Stella. This rabbit's foot might need to be more of an incidental thing rather than a very strong draw engine. Same with the drawing thin. Okay. Lesson learned. Let's see how bad that continues on. Whew. Okay, let's return that to the bag. Second action, let's take a move. I think we're going to move to this one, just one over. This is, if you control the... Which seal is this one? That's this seal, I believe. Yep. Test 3 difficulty. If you succeed, investigators can spend 2 clues as a group to activate that seal and remove a frost token from the bag. Okay. Not very good investigation prospects here. But I can try it once and use a look what I found, and the worst I can fail by is 2 in that case. And I'm pretty tempted to give that a go, just to get a couple more clues available for us to be doing these things. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Two against 2. -3. So we'll spend 2 resources to play Look What I Found, to grab those 2 clues. And you know, before I go any further, I am going to go ahead and drop this drawing thin into play. It's a really risky one in this set, but I do need money, and I do need cards. And I think money and cards that make me go a little faster are going to be outweighing the negatives of occasionally drawing that Elder thing and crying heavily from it. So that's Stella's turn. For Amanda, I'm going to go ahead and scoot over 1 location to this ancient facility, which is going to cost me 2 actions. Another subnautical sprawl. Great. Another place I don't really want to be getting clues off of, I don't think. It's a lot of clues on it, but I don't really need them off of it right now, I don't think. And you know what? Again, I think I'm just going to play this green soapstone. Is this showing up on screen if I put it up here? Sort of. Put this into play with my 4 charges. And that'll be available. I'll also, so I don't forget, draw that Essence of the Dream. That should be in hand at the start of my turn. Because I'm not doing a very good job not forgetting that. Okay. So that's Amanda's turn. We're all done with those. So we'll do our upkeep on Amanda. She gets her miasmic crystal and a resource. And Stella gets Called by the Mists, which I somehow shuffled directly back on top, and a resource. Oh, gotta ready up. The Nebulous Miasma kicks out of play. Get our 3rd Doom on the agenda. 3 out of 5 already. Pretty desperate looking. Amanda gets a locked door. The location with the most clues. Well, let's just pop that right there on the Subnautical Sprawl, and that's just probably going to stay there for the rest of the game. So I'm going to put it mostly very underneath it. Stella gets Glimpse of the Unspeakable. Draw the top card of the Tekalili deck, resolve its effect. Take a damage. And then shuffle it into any Investigator's deck instead of placing it on the bottom of the Tekalili deck. No Tekalili weakness is drawn by this. This gains Surge. So I think what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to shove this into Amanda, because Amanda is such a strong draw engine that one of these really does not harm her too badly. And she also has these medical students to heal damage up. And I wouldn't mind like shoving a damage over onto Amy Kensler at some point, and then healing it up with a medical student to get her a bit safer in the future. So a couple of relatively safe Mythos phases. Amanda loses that Whispers from the Deep and then draws a card from the top of her deck. It is a Crack the Case. Okay. Tempted to go ahead and just grab a bunch of clues from here. And if I were to do that, how would I want to do it? I'd want to put a deduction underneath me. I'd want to practice makes perfect into like a perception or something like that. And then maybe toss this Essence of the Dream. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards in hand. Okay. I think we are going to put the deduction underneath her. May as well get some clues while we're here. Okay. And I think we're going to start with Amanda. We're going to do exactly what I said. We're going to take an investigate. Let's go ahead and use an investigate first with Amy Kensler. This is no actions now because of the upgrade to her. So she's going to be space 6. Plus 1 from deduction is 7 against 2. Seven against 2. 0. Cool. So we'll get 2 clues off this. 1 goes back, 2 goes on to us. And then we look at this top card and we can discard it if we so want to. Primeval Terror. Test 2 willpower. This test gets +1 difficulty for each location away you are from the Gate of Aqua. If you fail, take 2 horror. Well, 2 horror, it's not the worst in the world. I could save my Essence of the Dream to try and pass this. And I think that I'll go ahead and do that, because that sounds like a bit of a gimme. If I can get away with it. Okay, so that's no action so far. We'll do another investigate. We'll spend 1 for practice makes perfect. Search the top 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. For a perception, promise of power, a leadership. That wouldn't be the worst. I would need to go ahead and commit a bit more to make it work. But I think I kind of like the leadership play, because I'm going to need to play, I'm going to want to get Michael Lee into play eventually. The promise makes power makes it a lot more likely to go off. And like I said, I don't really want to commit that Essence of the Dream. You know what, though? I think I'm going to do the promise of power. Reason being, I have the crack the case in hand if I really need to make money. And I think I do want to make money. So we'll just do a quick shuffle there. 1 curse goes into the bag. And that'll put me at, again, 6, 7 against 2. With the deduction in it. First action. -1, so we get 2 more clues. The promise of power goes to hand, because that was successful. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards in hand. I will go ahead and play that crack the case for 2 resources. 1, 2. I got Dream Enhancing Serums like a Grizzly Totems I want to play. Next, let's stay nice and close. We'll go ahead and move over to this next ancient facility. This is the Sculptured Crypt. After it is revealed, place the dormant this guy seal on it. Test 2 intellect to decipher the alien script. If you succeed, investigators at Sculptured Crypt may spend 1 clues per investigator as a group for you to take control of the seal on it. Okay, great. So we know where one of the seals is now. We just need to find the spot for it to get activated at, and we can kind of make a beeline to get it back here. Okay. Let's investigate move. We've got 1 action left. I think I'm going to go ahead and just draw a card. Drawing a card makes me feel a bit safer right now. It's a vicious blow. Oh wow, I am super set up for fighting if I need to. If an enemy pops out on Amanda, she is all set to go. Alright, that leaves me a spot with Amanda that I'm pretty happy being in. Stella, I do want to get rid of this Called by the Mist if I can. That's going to grow to be very annoying. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move first action to just explore this next one and to also be 1 location away from Amanda. Say 3 Shroud, 2 Clue location. Okay, so none of the places to activate are here. Just this one. Okay. And that's for one of the ones that is not yet in play, right? Right, it is. Okay. Activate, fast ability. Choose another vaulted corridor and test agility is the number of locations away. If you succeed, move there. Okay, interesting. Nice. All right, that seems to be a pretty good spot for that to be because it's right next to the Gate of Equus. So maybe that'll give us some good movement options later on. But I am just going to go ahead and double action to get rid of this Called by the Mists. That's a bunch of damage I really don't want to be taking. Finito. We ready up. We draw a card on Amanda. A Dream Enhancing Serum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Got 10 capacity with the Lab Assistant. And a resource. Stella gets an old keyring and a resource. That'll help a little bit. Okay. One more Doom on the agenda. 4 out of 5. And encounter cards for Amanda. We know it's going to be the Primeval Terror. Testing 2 gets +1 difficulty for each location away. So I'm 1 location away, so it's 3 difficulty. And we're just going to go ahead and commit the Essence of the Dream to that. That'll put us at 6 against 3. 6 against 3 is where I'm willing to take this test. I can't kill off my Lab Assistant with this if I fail it, but I can deal her 1 damage and 1 to myself, so it's pretty safe. -2. So that's successful. I'm just going to put that back in my hand so I don't forget about it, because I'm awful for forgetting about that this whole campaign. And another Glimpse the Unthinkable on Stella. She's going to draw Take a Horror, which is fine. 1 more horror is not going to kill her. And I'm going to go ahead and put that 1 into Amanda again. And I think Amanda's going to try and play this Miasmic Crystal before these get too much nastier. So we'll shuffle that in really quick. Shove that away. Start the investigation phase. This is not technically in hand, so I can't put it under her. Get a Promise of Power. I think that I'm going to begrudgingly put a Promise of Power underneath. I don't like doing that very often, but I think that's where it needs to go right now, because I really want to keep these combat abilities. I'd like to play this Miasmic Crystal. Shortcut's really useful. The Dream Enhancing Serum is really useful. So that's kind of where that needs to go. Then the Essence of the Dream goes to hand. I don't have to commit this if I don't want to, but I can. Now, over here on Stella, is that where we want to start, or do we want to start with Amanda? I think we want to start with Amanda. Yeah, we do. So, I'm going to first action play the Dream Enhancing Serum on Amanda. Second action, we're going to play the Miasmic Crystal. That has 3 charges on it. Third action, we're going to go ahead and attempt that test. To pick up that seal. We're going to be at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Committing putting a curse in there. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with the Essence of the Dream. We get 8 against 2. 8 against 2 is pretty safe, I think. Feels pretty safe. Could be wrong. Hope I'm not. Six against 2. -1. Great. So we lose one of our curses. And we get this seal, spending 2 clues. Now, I just want to look at this. This is only for activated seals that we instantly lose the campaign. So that's fine. Essence of the Dream is going to go to the side. Now, 1, 2, that ability. I'm going to go ahead and shortcut. I did say I was going to save this to try to keep my hand size up and also to get the ability later, but I'm just going to go a bit deeper. Another vaulted corridor. Okay, so now I know that those guys are still kind of connected. They're only 2 locations away, so it would be a pretty easy test for Stella to pass. Now it is Stella's turn. She's in a bit of a crummy position where this drawing thin rabbit's foot engine that would normally be getting her tons of cards is just super risky. But I still think that I want to try it. I'm going to do the ability on this. Choose another, limit once per round, but that's fine. Choose another vaulted corridor and test X, so it's 1 and then 2 by wrapping around locations away, so it's a 4 difficulty against my 4 agility. And I might just succeed at this. But I don't want to fail by 3 or more if I pull that. I guess if I pull the Elder thing, no matter what, I'm failing by 3 or more. So I may as well drawing thin to get a card. And now I'm testing 6 against 4. 4 against 6, excuse me. Oh, of course. All right. Well, I'll do them in order. So the rabbit's foot is drawing me, letting me look at the top 6 cards for a card and adding it to my hand. We're going to go ahead and grab... I think we're going to grab the ice pick out of those options. And then we failed the test, at which point we place a doom and that agenda is going to advance. Oh man. This is going to be a really rough finale. Because that is a bad start. It's like forcing my way into 2 extra ancient evils. Good God. Okay, well, this advances. Let's see what it says. A dark primordial energy seeps forth from the walls, the very same miasma that has haunted your every step throughout this doomed journey. You freeze in your tracks and back away. You've seen the kinds of hideous shapes it can take, the kinds of memories it conjures, foul and fair alike, but not everyone sees the mirage for what it truly is. Read the scenario interlude, the final straw in the campaign guide. Alright, let's go grab that. You instinctively act to defend yourself from the creature you know dwells on the other side of the illusion, but your companions do not seem to understand. Their mouths hang open in awe, their eyes glaze over, reflecting only the truth the miasma wants them to see. Find each surviving expedition member, including those currently under an investigator's control who do not have a checkmark drawn next to their name in the expedition team section of the campaign log, and choose one of them at random. Then read the section below that corresponds to the chosen expedition member. Well, fortunately these 2 are resolute, but I don't think anyone else is. So we've got Professor William Dyer, Takada Hiroko, Elia Ashevak, and Avery Claypool. Let me double check. I believe that these are the only guys that have died: Malice, Sinha, Danforth, and Cookie. So let's see who we randomly get out of that pool. Professor William Dyer. Well, super unfortunate for the professor. Let's see what we get here. If the victim is Professor William Dyer. Professor Lake, Dyer says, recognizing the figure within the miasma. Yes, I have read over your proposal. If we wish to cancel the expedition, I will not stop you. I agree, there are many great things we have yet to consider about the journey. He turns to the carvings along the wall and examines them as if they were his own scribblings upon his chalkboard. Yes, I believe that would be most prudent. A tendril of miasma in the shape of a hand reaches out for him. If Dr. Amy Kensler is alive. Lake is dead, Dr. Kensler says, placing a hand on the professor's shoulder. We were at his funeral together, remember? At St. Mary's. The milky glaze over Dyer's eyes begins to fade as he realizes the truth. Yes, he says at last, I remember it. He takes a deep breath, closing his eyes to shut out the painful memory. It was a lovely service. The entity retreats, its ruse foiled. Well, get punked on miasma. You don't get to do shit. Keep on living, Mr. Dyer. So that's that agenda done. We'll read the next one. The miasma beckons. Eldritch whispers and the dribbling of inky miasma permeates the once silent ruins. Something is reaching out to you from within its walls, calling to you. If 2 or more activated seals are controlled by the investigators at the same location, same deal. We blow up the world by accident. Okay, so that was her first action, and she has 3 remaining. So let's try and make the best use of the fact that she just absolutely dunked on herself, basically. We'll take 1 move up to this ancient facility. Second action. If you control the pitchfork, which is going to be the one here, spend 2 clues and discard 4 cards from their hands as a group to activate that seal. This is a 3-shroud, 2-clue location. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and look at this one again because I don't remember what it was. This is 2 clues and 6 resources. So we need 4 clues between us, 6 resources between us, and 4 cards between us to retrieve and activate that one. So I'm going to go ahead and try and get some of these clues if I can. I'm going to do a fast play of this ice pick. And I'll investigate 3 against 1 at this location. Third action. -2, so we'll discard the ice pick to grab both those clues. And then last action, let's think. I think we're going to go ahead and spend the resource to put... I do have an item to scavenge now, so scavenging is not useless. And scavenging an ice pick is pretty good. I think we're going to put that scavenging into play. Okay, so that's Stella. Okay, so that's the end of the round. Everything is going to ready. We're going to draw a card on Amanda. It is our mineral specimen. That'll help with clues a great deal. And then over here on Stella, we ready all this shit. And we get a spare parts, which is also really good for resources. It's a bunch of free resources, and I think I need the resources to get someone like Granny into play, or just to be able to do my replaying of stuff. So that's that. We're going to get a Doom up here on the agenda. We are at 1 out of 6 on the second agenda. And then Amanda gets Nightmarish Vapors. Lose 2 actions or shuffle the top 2 cards of a Teki-Lili deck into your deck without looking at them. We're going to go ahead with that second one because we do have this Miasmic Crystal in play. And 2 Teki-Lili cards is not the scariest thing that we could be seeing right now. So 1 and then 2. We'll shuffle those in. I feel like we're getting a lot of softballs from this encounter deck so far. Really hoping this does not get significantly worse very soon, but I guess we'll see what happens. Okay. And then Stella gets a Forgotten Shoggoth. Whoo! Wowee! Hunter, after he engages you, draw the top card of the Teki-Lili deck. Cannot, it attacks you. Draw the top card of the Teki-Lili deck. If it is your turn, lose an action. Otherwise, lose an action during your next turn. So we now have 2 actions remaining on Stella. Wow, that sucks. Okay. Promise Power goes away, and Amanda draws a Magnifying Glass. Now, we're going to go help her defeat this Forgotten Shoggoth. And so to do that, we are going to put a Vicious Blow underneath us. Yes. Yep, happy with that. Okay. So, whoops, I just dropped a couple cards off of Amanda's deck. Put those back on. Okay, so Stella is going to be going first. We're going to go ahead and take a move over to Stella. We're going to do an attack into this Forgotten Shoggoth. We're going to be committing a single overpower. That will put us at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 against 3. That is a tough enemy. Seven against 3. Is that enough? No, we're going to put a Promise of Power into that as well. Put a Curse token into the bag. That'll put us a lot against 3. What did I say? 11 against 3. -1. Okay, so we're going to be dealing. Let's do this in the right order. Actually, let's go ahead and do this in the right order. So 2 cards from Overpower. 1, Perception. 2, a Tekelili, which I'm going to spend a charge on this. Cancel the effect of it and place it on the bottom of the Tekelili deck, and then draw another card, which is going to be a deduction. That was a damage, by the way, so I know that the damage is not coming up anytime soon. So that's my 2 draws for my Overpower. And then I get my damage that's succeeded by 2 or more, which is going to be +2 damage, so I'm dealing 3. And when I perform a successful attack, I can spend a charge off of the Soapstone to make that 4 damage. Okay. That looks pretty good. This is exhausted. Okay. Great. This Essence of the Dream should be in my hand. I'll make another attack. Again, Vicious Blow, Overpower, Essence of a Dream this time. So I'll be at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 against 3. -2. Okay, cool. So he is toast. And I put another Overpower in, so that's 2 more draws, a Eureka and the Obscure Studies. Great. Essence of the Dream drops off. Overpower heads into a discard. And that was a pretty good turn from Amanda. I'm going to keep that Magnifying Glass in hand, just in case this Essence of the Dream icon is slightly more useful. We're going to have a pretty bum turn on Stella. I think we're going to go ahead and move over once to this location. After this is revealed, place this symbol on it. Test 2 to shatter the ice. You may spend 2 clues for you to take control of this. Ooh, excellent. These 2 are right next to each other, and I can just go ahead and do that one very quickly. Oh, that's great. Okay. Second action. Okay. Second action, I'm going to attempt this test. I'm not going to put Drawing Thin into it. I'm testing 3 against 2. I'll be getting an action if I fail with the Rabbit's Foot there. I'll be getting a card as well. And I do not risk the Elder Thing because I cannot fail by 3 or more. Okay, I see what my mistake was there now. +1, so of course, I pass that. So I can spend 2 clues to grab that seal. Which is fine, it's just not, I wouldn't have minded failing it. But anyways, it is what it is. That's the end of that round. So we're going to ready up over here. Amanda is going to draw a Tekelili, another damage one, so we'll cancel that and draw another card, which is a medical student. We'll unsleeve this really quickly. Toss that on the bottom. Put that to the side. I don't remember if I took a resource or not. Okay, I had not spent a resource. Took a resource, excuse me, and then I'll draw a card with Stella, which is in my other Rabbit's Foot. And take a resource. Okay, that's that. 2 Doom on the agenda, and we get for Amanda another Primeval Terror. but this time we're testing 4 willpower. So I think that this is just going to fail. But that being said, I'm going to toss this Obscure Studies to get this Vicious Blow back, because if I have more enemies like that I need to deal with, I'm going to need that Vicious Blow to deal with them. So I'm at 5 against 4, and let's just go ahead and toss this Eureka in on the off chance that it's successful. 6 against 4. Her and Stella are not at the same location, unfortunately, but I think that's okay. And I'm alright with that. Got a lot of zeros, got a lot of -1s right now. -1. Perfect. So we trigger the Eureka, which is going to look at the top 3 cards of the deck, and draw one of them to pick up Michael Lee. That shortcut could also have been pretty good, but we'll go ahead with Michael Lee instead. Eureka to discard, Primeval Terror to discard. We'll take a look at what we get on Stella is another Nebulous Miasma. So it's going to pop right there. We're going to try our absolute hardest to remember to discard that at the end of the round. That's going to be a tricky one. Okay, so we draw a new card on Amanda, and we pop this Obscure Studies away. I'm just going to go ahead and assume that... What am I going to assume? I'm going to assume that this medical student is not going to be particularly useful this game. And I'm going to assume that I'm playing Michael Lee and then taking a couple of move actions. So I'm going to pop that medical student underneath her and do something like that this turn. Oh, it's tricky. It's so hard to know what to do right now because she's so... I feel so crippled with that Elder Thing token. I'm so nervous to do anything with her, to be honest, with much of anything. That's a real shame. Okay, I'm going to go ahead with Amanda. I'm going to add the Essence of the Dream to hand. I'm going to do what I said, where I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, just 4. Play Michael Lee. First action. The second action, she's going to head up to this ancient facility up here, do a little more scouting. This is another vaulted corridor. So that's, again, kind of useful. These are all 2 locations away from each other, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So if she had some wild icons, she could use that to move pretty far. I think I'm going to take another move action to head to this one. Last action. And this is where I will be returning the curly one. If you control the curly seal, test 3 agility. If you succeed, you activate that and then deal 2 damage to each enemy in play. Alright, that's interesting. How many cards do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's pop these 2 clues onto this location. Let's not forget about that. Did I forget to get the 2 clues off of here? No, this did not have clues on it. Okay. And that'll be Amanda. You know what, actually? No, that's not going to be Amanda. We're going to pop that Magnifying Glass into play for +1 to investigate. And then she's going to use Amy Kensler, 1 charge off Amy Kensler to investigate base 6, 7, 8 against 4. I wouldn't mind just getting a better idea of what is going on there. I've already used a deduction up. And so this is not going to be triggering Dream Enhancing Serum anytime soon, so I'm going to commit a deduction to be 9 against 4. And just grab 2 of these clues, because it sounds like I'm going to need a lot of clues. 9 against 4. And that's -1, or... What is this? If there's a seal at your location, which there is not, so that's fine. So we get both those clues, and then we look at the top card of the encounter deck. This is a Rampaging Shoggoth, Massive Hunter, gets +2 per investigator health. Victory 1. Okay, so the question is, can I defeat him next turn? And I think it's going to be a no, maybe a big fat no. But I could be wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 against 3. I don't have a lot of other things to commit to it is the problem. And he has 8 health. So I think that I'm not going for that. I'm just going to discard him and say I'm going to get my victory elsewhere. We lost so many turns, I don't want to lose a whole turn fighting if I can avoid it. Okay. And that is our dear girl, Amanda. So for Stella, let's think. We're going to go ahead and try and do this. Is that what we want to do? Yeah, I think it is. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to say spare parts into play. This gets 3 supplies on it. I'm going to take one of those supplies as a resource right away. And then I'm going to scoot down to the geothermal vent. That's action 1 and 2. And then action 3, I'm going to be testing 3 against 1 to try and activate this seal and remove a frost token from the bag, which I don't actually have any frost tokens in the bag currently, but it doesn't hurt to try. Auto fail. Okay, so we fail by 1, so the rabbit's foot just draws us a look what I found. We get an action back, and then we can try this again. 3 against 1. Zero. Cool. So we activate this, and we remove a frost. I'm just going to take a quick look to double check that there's no frost tokens in the bag. If there's no frost tokens, there's 2 curses. Good to remember that there's 2 curses in there. I was kind of hoping to pull some of those out with Stella just now, but that's fine. Next turn I can move in and activate that, put that on the Gate of Yukon. I'll have 1 done, and I can advance the act. So that's kind of nice. Okay, that's the end of the turns. So we ready Dr. Kensler. We draw a card on Amanda and take a resource. It is a Grizzly Totem, which she has no money to play. She should have played this Crack the Case on that Shroud, 4-Shroud location. There's no reason for me to have kept on to that because it wouldn't have triggered Dream Dancing Serum, and I needed money to play more stuff, so I'm just going to go ahead and retroactively do that. And then Stella gets a card, which is a small radio. Rabbit's Foot readies. Getting pretty full in hand size and a resource. I'll be getting Granny Orn into play pretty soon, and that'll help me not fail by 3 so badly on the Elder things. Still can happen, but it'll help it not happen quite so badly. Okay, so we're up to 3 Doom on the agenda. We get new encounter cards. First, Amanda gets another Nightmarish Vapors. I think that she is going to go ahead and put 2 more Tekalili cards into her deck. She's got a lot in there, but at the same time, I've canceled a few of them already. We'll just shuffle that really quick. The nice thing is that she burns through them, so the next scenario she doesn't start with any, right? And if I can just take a couple, I'll take some lickens in the scenario, but then I'll try and activate as many seals as I can, and then get the fuck out of here, right? I'm going to be running out of time pretty soon. This is moving along quite quickly. But hopefully we're getting towards the end of it. Nightmarish Vapors, and then Stella gets an Ancient Evils. I forgot that was in here. Doom goes on the agenda. Okay. So, we lose the medical student on Amanda, and she draws a Tekalili. This is place a clue in your location, so she's going to cancel that one for certain and draw a new card. Promise of Power. Did I mess something up? I don't think I should have another Promise of Power. I feel like that should have been used up at some point, and maybe when I lost a card off of my deck, I put a Promise of Power into it by accident. Yeah, I think that happened at some point. I don't think I'm supposed to have another Promise of Power in there. Day of Reckoning instead. But this is going to be going underneath the deck. I'm losing that Elder Sign token, which has not been serving me at all this scenario. No Elder Signs, and even if I do get them, they're on Amanda, right? I just happen to pull out every token except for the Elder Sign. That's pretty emblematic of this campaign so far, I'd say. There's my Elder Sign over on Day of Reckoning. At least that's going to be getting rid of soon. And now what do we put underneath her? I think I'll go ahead and put the Perception underneath her. We're going to be going in just like trying to do some tests maybe. So I want to activate this seal. Let's go ahead. I should have a resource on Michael Lee there. We'll go ahead with Amanda first. We're going to take a move over one location. Try and get these last couple. This is the, if you control the 3-dot location, so that's this one. Test 3 willpower. If you control, test 3 power. If you succeed, spend 2 clues as a group to activate it. Then look at the revealed side of each unrevealed location on the same spoke as the Forsaken Temple. Now I'm going to have to look at that map to remember which is spokes. These are the spokes, so I can look at this one if I were to activate that there, which is not hugely useful because that's actually where I was going to move next. So I'm going to move there next. This does have 2 clues on it, but I'm just going to go ahead and move to here. If you control that seal, test 3 intellect. If you succeed, investigate the Library of Kos. Spend 1 clues per investigator to activate that seal. Then look at the unrevealed side of each unrevealed location on the same ring as the Library of Kos, which we'll be looking here. And that's good because this is where I want it to be. So we're going to attempt that. We're going to have a perception committed. We're going to be at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's get up to 7, 8, 9 against 3. To try to activate the seal on Amanda. Zero. Sweet. So the seal on hers activated. I draw 2 cards from the perception for succeeding by enough. Attack a Lily to take a horror. We're going to put 1 of that onto our lab assistant. Excuse me, my lab assistant. I think that might have been, I might have just knocked my cup of water around there while I said that. She's hidden in there, I assure you. 0 successful Dream Enhancing Serum draws this game because I've been just committing and playing things like crazy. I've not been able to hold on to something to trigger it. But that's okay. So it was move, and do that. So good. We did that. I'm going to go ahead and use Amy again to get some more clues. I did have to spend 2 clues to do that. I forgot about that. And I also get to look at this. This puts the last guy into play, and it's the agility version of this. So, fine. I'm just going to put that there so I don't forget. I'm attempting to investigate with Dr. Amy Kensler. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 against 5. May as well get this last one in and take another look at the top card of the deck. Hopefully another Ancient Evils, considering all my cards have been very stacked together from a poor shuffle. $11 against 5. -2. So we draw 2 cards with Perception. It's a Leadership and a Perception level 2. Again, no more draws from DES, but we do get 1 clue off here. We look at this top card of the deck, and we discard it if we don't want it. A Protoplasmic Mass. The location farthest from you on the outer ring. Prey nearest investigator with a seal only. When the enemy phase ends, if an investigator controls an activated seal, Protoplasmic Mass resolves the enemy phase again. It resolves its hunter keyword and attacks a second time. Let's not deal with him. That is, again, a lot of time wasted. Time and effort wasted. Okay. That is Amanda. Thank you, my dear. On to Stella. We're going to go ahead and take another money off the spare part. I'm going to walk in and place an activated seal I control on the gate of Iqua. Boom. If an activated seal is placed on the gate of Iqua, advance. As soon as you set the seal into place, it locks into the door with an audible click. The energy stored within the seal reaches out, coursing through channels and grooves along the doorway, and lighting the entire chamber with an eerie glow. Perhaps, if you can activate and place the remaining 4 seals, you can put a stop to this madness. Check which seal was just placed. Do not remove it. It was the first one. The investigator who places it heals 1 damage. Cool. Neat. The Great Seal. Placing the first of the 5 seals has awoken the strange power within the facility. But you believe if you can find and activate the remaining seals, they will aid in containing the thing that dwells on the other side of the gate. Place as many activated seals as you can on the gate of Iqua before whatever it is inside escapes. If all 5 seals have been placed, advance. Now, I am not confident I'm going to be able to do that. I think I would have needed a track shoes several turns ago off of Stella to be able to do that. But we'll see what happens. I think I am going to go ahead and play this Granny Orn last action. It was move, activate, and play the Granny. Just kind of need some soak and kind of need some boosts and kind of need a little bit of everything, I think, on Stella. Okay, this is the messiest board state ever. I love it. We ready up Dr. Amy over here. That is a clue, not a doom. We draw a card on Amanda. We place a clue on the location, which is fine. We just got that anyways. Put that back on the bottom of the Tekalili deck. That's her upkeep. Lovely. And a resource. A card and a resource for Stella is going to be Attract Shoes. We've been just looking for that. And that should help us pull off these last couple. Maybe I'll be able to get more of them than I think. 5 out of 6 Doom. Amanda gets Wook Wook. Find the giant albino penguin enemy farthest from you. You must either move it to your location or place a Doom on it. If there are no giant albino penguins in play, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a giant albino penguin. Draw it and shuffle the encounter deck. Well, we're going to go ahead and move them to us. I think that... Oh, no, wait. No, we're just going to place a Doom on them. We're at 5 out of 6 right now. That does nothing. Blasphemous Visions. Shuffle the top card of a Tekalili deck into your deck without looking at it. Now they all have the duplicated effects, which I'm going to want to get rid of because that was super annoying the last couple of scenarios. Absolutely buggered us tremendously. So we'll try and get rid of that if we can. So over on Amanda, we have to draw a card and get rid of this perception and put something new under her. So let's see what we're going to get. She grabs a leadership. I think we're going to go ahead. I kind of just want to come return that seal too. Get that done. You can only bring 1 seal at a time, so it's not like she can go do something else in the meantime, right? Like that's just not going to happen. Let's just take a moment to look at the board again. This one goes here. This one goes here, and this one goes here. So there's a lot of moving around up in that area, like in this. I think we're going to go ahead and put another perception under us because I still think we need more clues. And we may as well need more cards for the one that needs us to discard a bunch of cards from our hand. So that's that. Now, the question now is, how do I want to go about actually performing this? Because she does need to come back here. And she needs to do that soon. I think I'm going to go ahead with Stella first. We're going to take this last money off the spare parts to play Attract Shoes. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to move this miasmic crystal because this is expended for Amanda and it is completely useless, so I'm just going to shove it way off to the side. So spending getting a spare part, last spare part off of this, which is also kind of useless now, so I'm just shoving it way off to the side. Get the Track Shoes. So we're at 5 agility now. I think I'm going to go ahead. Where is that agility one? That's right there, right? 1, 2, 3. If I can do that. So I'm going to move from the Gate of Equa. This is the willpower one. Maybe I should get her to go do that. I'm going to move to this vaulted corridor. And when I do so, I'm not going to trigger the track shoes. That's action 1, 2. I'm going to use the ability on this to choose another vaulted corridor and test 2 agility. It's this far away. I'm going to be testing 5 against 2. Is that what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a drawing thin into it for 2 resources to test 5 against 4, because I'm minus 4. No, it does make me fail by 3. Never mind. I'm not going to put the drawing thin into it. I'm just going to test 5 against 2 with the vaulted corridor. Auto fail. Okay. So I do have a 2 difficulty Rabbit's Foot that I'm resolving, 2 cards. And I also get my action. I guess I'll take that dynamite. What is this one? Discard an asset you control? It's a really annoying one to get on Stella. Discarding an asset I control on Amanda's not that big of a deal because I usually cycle the deck. I could just discard that miasmic crystal and be good with it. I mean, discarding the spare parts is fine. I've got scavenging, so that's supposed to be fine too, in theory. Anyways, I failed that, so I also have my action back. So I now am at my 3rd action. I'm going to take a move here, testing the track shoes, 5 against 1. This miasmic nebulous miasma I forgot forever ago should be gone. Minus 1, so we'll move up to this vaulted corridor. And then finally, I think I'm going to try and test this Blasphemous Visions off myself, just so I don't have to discard 2 assets in a couple turns. Actually, no, I don't mind getting rid of this drawing thin, do I? I think that's fine. Yeah, that's not that big of a deal. That's really not that big of a deal. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think I'll just take the move over. Into this one. So this is the one. Gets this guy, spending clues to do willpower tests to grab it. And then I gotta go over here. So I'm gonna need one more clue before I can do that. Okay, I lost a bit of footage just now. And I think I've rewinded it to where I was. What I did was I moved Amanda 1, 2, and then activated my next seal. And that's her entire turn. So I didn't undo my resources. So she drew a card, which was a Dream Enhancing Serum, and gained a resource. And then Stella drew a card, which was Cookie's Custom 32, and gained a resource. And then the agenda advances. So we lose all these guys. The Elder Sign comes off that. Yeah, if things looked a little funny between those cuts, it's because I had to kind of rewind my board state a bit. And then this agenda advances. And this says, the seals pulse with dangerous electrostatic energy, filling the icy chambers with bright blue light. You struggle to contain the power within each seal as you move quickly to put them in their proper place. Check the seal is controlled by each investigator. If a seal is not controlled by an investigator, skip it. I don't control any of these seals, so nothing happens. Super. The Call of Madness. Another 6 Doom Threshold. The gateway stirs. Whatever's calling to you from within these walls, it hears your every word, your every footstep. It knows of your presence, of your hopes, of your fears, and it yearns to be free. And then what I drew for my encounter cards is an electrostatic discharge. It has surge. Each investigator at the same location as a seal takes 1 horror and 1 damage if that seal is activated. So she takes a horror and damage that went on Michael Lee. And then she draws a locked door, which all of the revealed locations except for the one that already has a locked door are tied. So the vaulted corridor takes that. because I'm not walking up that way anymore, I don't think. And then Stella drew a Wuck Wuck, which is either going to place a Doom on the albino penguin or move it to Stella. And I think I deliberated on this a while before I had to rewind there. I think the albino penguin moves to Stella. I think that's what I have to do on her. Because she can spend 2 actions to just get rid of that thing and then do that test and it's gone. But I don't want to have to risk doing that later, I don't think. That's how I feel about it right now. So that's that. The perception goes away, and then she top decks. That's not it. Yes, no, that's what I was about to do before I found the problem. So I take a horror. I'm going to go ahead and use that to discard my lab assistant. And then I have to put a card under her, which is going to be a leadership. Okay, perfect. And we're back to where we were before I noticed that my recording was like not functioning. Okay, so Amanda has a pretty free turn here to just kind of move up and do stuff. This one gets solved over here. This one gets solved here. And this one gets solved here. So there's a lot of moving that needs to happen, and there's actually quite a few clues that need to be got. And so I think I need to kind of move up this way. I'm a little nervous I might need this, and I don't want to need that, but I'm nervous that I do. So I'm going to go ahead with Amanda and say move, move. I did look at this one, and I think it doesn't have clues on it. Yeah, it doesn't have clues on it. It's okay. And I can test agility for this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards in hand, unfortunately. Just enough to not be getting my Essence of the Dream as a big agility test. We're going to leave that one for Stella for sure. And then we'll move up to this last ancient facility, which also comes into play with no clues and has this one on it. Investigators at the Limestone Cavern spend 2 per investigator clues and 3 resources. 6 resources as a group to take control of the seal in the Limestone Caverns. So, 1, 2, 3, that is Amanda's turn. So Stella's going to have a pretty simple turn. She's going to play a dynamite for no resources. She's going to throw a dynamite at her current location, dealing 3 damage to herself and 3 damage to this dickhead, defeating him. And then she's going to attempt the willpower test there, 4 against 0. She could drawing thin that. Yeah, she's going to drawing thin that to give it +2 difficulty, and she's going to use that to take 2 resources. So I'm testing 4 against 2. Do we want to commit anything to that? I'll commit a rabbit's foot. I don't need another one. 5 against 2. 3 up, effectively 4 up with Granny, if I want to use her. Auto fail. Okay, well, we fail anyways. We get another action. We'll try it again. 4 against 0 this time. -2. Spend our 2 clues to grab this seal. Great. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. And that is that turn entirely. So we draw a card over here on Amanda, a Eureka, and gain a resource. We did lose that lab assistant, so how many cards do we have in hand? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're good for Amanda. We draw a card, which is a resourceful on Stella, and add that to her hand. Okay, great. So we get 1 Doom up here on the agenda. What does Amanda get for a card? Let's see. Ancient Evils. I think we're going to have to just get out of here soon. We get another Ancient Evils. Oh dear. Okay. That really changes how things are going to look here. She can get this if she can get a clue first. And then she can just run out and be done, I think. I'm worried that Amanda's not going to have time to get here and get the clues she needs to do it. Because she's going to need 2 more clues before she can do this. Let's discard this leadership and take a look at the last card. It's a shortcut. We'll go ahead and put our other leadership underneath us. Because I think for now that doesn't matter. We're going to have a big, long think about how this scenario is going to go. Because this is looking dirty. Dirty, dirty, dirty. Okay. I think that Stella needs to go first. For sure. The question is, what does she want to do first? She needs to get the clues off of here, and she can get them off with this. Look what I found. So I think first action, she needs to move, trigger her track shoes, testing 5 against 5. And I'm actually going to go ahead and commit a manual dexterity to this to try and not be quite so fucked on that test if I draw an Elder Thing. Because I think an Elder Thing is kind of just making me lose. So, excuse me, 7 against 5. -1. Okay, so I succeed, and I draw a card. I take heart. Okay. So we move there. And now we investigate 3 against 3, and I'll commit a take heart to this. And I will just do that. Because I only need 1 of the clues, so a 3 against 3 if I fail is not a big deal. Auto fail, so I do fail, but it's not enough to get me that look what I found, so I just draw 2 cards. Oh, fuck yeah. Discard an asset I control, which I have to do 2 of, so I'll get rid of the drawing thin, I'll get rid of the spare parts. Oh my god, I've already lost track of where I was in this. I should not record so late. But I drew a live and learn off that. So that means I actually get to do this test again, if I want to. And yeah, I want to. I didn't do my rabbit's foot, but I already did my take heart draws, so it's too late for that. This was my investigate second action. I do have a third action now. So I'm investigating this time 5 against 3. Zero, so I do get 1 clue. And now third action, I can test 4 with Granny Orn. Oh, sorry, I had to play the live and learn to do that. My bad. I'm attempting the willpower test on this. 4 against 1. Put this 0 back. Increase my odds of passing it. Third action. That's a -3. And I said I was 4 against 1. So that's successful. And so I activate this guy. And spend 2 clues to do so. And then I can look at the unrevealed side of things on my spoke, but I don't need to do that. And then last action. I think we're just going to go ahead and move a location closer so that if we get any of those treacheries, they're not buggering us quite so badly. Okay, so that worked for Stella. That's pretty good, I think. She's definitely not going to have time to come back up and get this one, turn it back, and get all the way back here. That's insane. But Amanda might have time to return this one here. It's just a matter of clues. And clues is the real limiting factor. She needs 2 clues, which is 2 actions for her currently. Which is just desperate. That's rough. And I don't think that's happening. So I think I want to get this, though. I want to get this and I want to resign. Because it does say here, if you control one or more seals, you retain control of them. And I just as soon have a deactivated one. And I don't know. Do I need to activate it in the next scenario? I have no idea. But I just as soon bring one with me. So I do have all of my Ancient Evils out of the deck, though. So I know that I have two more turns after this one. Yeah, all 3 Ancient Evils are out of here. And if I really need to, I can go like move, investigate. Investigate, move, do it. Move, gone. Done. Right? Something like that. So we'll do this. We'll spend our 2 clues and 6 resources to grab this seal. And then we will shortcut 1 location over, and then move, second action, and then third action we will investigate. Of course the Eureka doesn't even work. That's fine. It is what it is. We'll investigate 2, 3, 4, 5 against 3. We may as well get 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 4, 5, 6, 7. I only have 7 cards in hand. So unfortunately, that's not working. But I am 7 against 3 for this investigate. I think these curses are about to come bite me in the ass. I can feel it. Oh, yeah. Okay, what are the clues? And I gain 2 resources for the successful investigate because of my leadership. Okay. Essence of the Dream goes there. And that is the end of Amanda's turn. So her deck shuffles and she takes a horror, which I'll just go ahead and put on Michael. And she also gains a resource after this draw happens. All the Tekka-Lily's got out of her deck, and I think the only Tekka-Lily that Stella's got has also gotten out of her deck. So that's a good position to be in going into the final scenario, I'd say. Top deck's a deduction, which of course she doesn't really need now, but it is what it is. We ready the track shoes. We draw a Neither Rain Nor Snow. Very nice to see. And a resource. And then we do one more Doom. And we get a Miasmatic Torment on Dr. Amy Kensler. Exhaust them. Attach it to him. I cannot ready. At the end of your turn, they take a damage or a horror. And we test 3 or 3 to discard it. Okay. And then on Stella, we get an Electrostatic Discharge. She takes... Each investigator at the same location as a seal takes 1 damage and one horror, and 1 damage if that seal is activated. So we take a damage and a horror over here. A damage and a horror over here. And just a horror over here. And that surges into a protoplasmic mass. The location farthest from you on the outer ring. So, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. That is not good. Pray the nearest investigator with a seal only. That's not good. That guy's going to land on Amanda next turn. So, the question is there anything I can do to make sure that Amanda can get this done and get out? She needs more clues to do this. But Stella has to turn this in, otherwise she can't activate it. They'll both blow up. I think that just put us in a position where we have to run. We have to cut bait and run. Because when an enemy phase ends, if an investigator controls an activated seal, resolves the enemy phase again. Oh, okay. Disregard that. I don't know what I'm talking about. We have to drop this leadership, and she draws a new leadership, which Fuck. Okay, fine. We'll put a Eureka under her. Um, and then we're going to go ahead with Stella first. So Stella's going to move once to the Subnautical Sprawl. We're going to trigger the track shoes on this. Are we going to trigger the track shoes on this? Yeah, we'll trigger the track shoes on this. 5 against 5. We'll go ahead and neither rain nor snow it to be 8 against 5. The only reason I'm doing that is to make sure that Elder Thing token doesn't go off. Fail or pass doesn't matter. I just don't want an Elder Thing. Boom, there it is. So I fail by 1, which draws me a card with Rabbit Foot. I live and learn. And I don't have to do that anymore. I don't have to do that that bad boy. I could play the live and learn on that. And you know what? I think I will because I get the action anyway. So I'll do the live and learn. So I'll be 7 against 5. We'll go 6. Sorry, 7, 8, 9, 10 against 5. Just go ahead and do it. I think more actions is actually fine. I might not bother resigning with her right away. I'll try and get rid of the Blasphemous Visions and hang out a turn if Amanda needs help for whatever reason. I don't think she will, but you never know, right? Another -4, but that does pass. So I do move an extra location. I get a Resourceful to go off, which I'm going to take another Rain or Snow back. Never hurts to have. So that was first action. Second action, I'll put the seal there. Third action, I will... You know, it's real risky. It's real risky. The question is, do I move and help her discarding cards and make it a bit safer for her to get out? We can work together on getting out. But she needs to activate this turn, and so this guy is going to hunt twice. Fuck, I forgot about that. So, Prey, nearest investigator with a seal only. Yeah, I think I do have to move twice. So move. To make it so that Amanda can get away from this guy. I think that's my only option. Okay. Move. Fine. Okay. Amanda's turn. I wanted to get rid of the Blasphemous Visions just in case. I don't think I have another one, but it would suck to draw another Blasphemous Visions and suddenly have to resolve something like how many times? Twice. And then if I draw it again a third time. She adds the Essence of the Dream to her hand. She investigates the location. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 against 3. I think this deck could have really used some fast clue tech or something. -4, but I do get the clue. And then a move. Nope, Eureka. 1, 2, 3. I'll take the Practice Makes Perfect. That seems to be the most generally useful of those, I think. Really hoping for a shortcut back, but that's okay. And then she'll move. And then she'll spend her 2 clues and discard some cards from, I believe, Stella's hand. We're going to go ahead and discard an old keyring and a Look What I Found, as well as a small radio. And then back over on her, we're going to discard our Grizzly Totem. No, we're going to discard our Deduction, actually. Because Grizzly Totem is a bit better for those, and that activates the seal on her. Now, that's that. The enemy phase occurs. He's going to hunt once towards the nearest investigator with a seal only. So once like that. And then when the enemy phase ends, if an investigator controls an activated seal, he resolves the enemy phase again, so he hunts again and attacks again. So move, and then an attack, which I'm just going to put right on her face. And at the end of the turn, we were supposed to do 1 to her, so we'll deal 1 damage to Dr. Amy Kensler. I'm just going to go ahead and put an extra thing on him, because she's been getting clues all of this game, and I've been forgetting to trigger it. But, you know, that is what you'd get for not actually doing it. So that's that. We get a card at the end of her turn, a perception, fine, and a resource. And then Stella gets a resourceful and a resource. So what can Stella actually help with here? This is kind of a dog shit situation to be in. She could help Amanda try to evade him. And that might be the only way to get out of here. But Amanda doesn't have enough actions to do an evade, move. So Stella has to, like, engage, move track shoes, resign, or something like that. Whatever. Doom goes up here. What do we get? Giant albino penguin. That absolutely fucks us. And a Forgotten Shoggoth. That, like, triply fucks us. Draw the top card of the Tekalili deck. We discard 2 cards at random from our hand. The cookies and the resourceful. Okay. Certain there's a way out of this. Certain of it. There's got to be a way out of this. Let's take a think. Whew. Well, if there's going to be a way out of this, we do have to do this first. Medical student. Okay. We'll go ahead and put what's underneath her. We'll go ahead and put the leadership because it's the most flexible icon. And I don't think any of the rest of these are good enough for us to get out. That is a damn shame. Can we just walk out, actually? No, we can't, because we have to kill the giant albino penguin. So, what that means is that Stella has to go first. She has to throw dynamite, which will trigger an attack of opportunity from the Forgotten Shoggoth. Yeah, okay. That's got to be the play, doesn't it? Okay, so she throws the dynamite. It deals 3 damage to each of them. 3 unrolled. 1 there and 2 there. And then killing the albino penguin and dealing 3 to him and 3 to him. And then all we have to do after that is to move, taking attack of opportunity from this guy for 1 damage and 2 horror. Second action will trigger the track shoes. We'll commit, neither rain nor snow to it. So we were at 5 against 3. We were at 8 against 3 for the track shoes. Second action. Zero. And then we resign, leaving the Shoggoth at that location. And then Amanda, can she take enough hits? She goes move for 1 and 1, killing off Michael. Move for 1 and 1, doing 1 and 1 to herself. And then resigns with an activated seal. So she'll be keeping that. And then that's the end of the scenario. Okay. We didn't get to advance the agenda, or sorry, the act, but we will go ahead and take a look at what our resolution is. If no resolution was reached, each investigator resigned or was defeated. Try as you might, you are unable to find and place all 5 seals. These dark, dormant halls are home to much more than just giant penguins. The creatures that dwell within are the same that Dyer and Danforth described from their journey. Shapeless monstrosities composed of viscous, bubbling jelly and covered in lidless eyes. You flee back to the gateway to rest and lick your wounds. But before you can decide what to do next, something slams the ancient massive doorway, scaring you nearly to death. It reverberates through the facility, then another, and another. You try to flee, but it's too late. Proceed to Resolution 2. With a final hiss of air and the primordial screech, the immense gateway bursts open. Tendrils of prismatic color reach forth, slithering along the floor and walls. The chaos is over in mere seconds. The miasma grips you with impossible strength, clawing and tugging at your limbs. Terrible shapes, familiar sights, and untold nightmares play out along the surface of the entity as it pulls you screaming through the gateway and into the other side. Each investigator earns experience equal to the victory X value of each card in the victory display. Each investigator earns 1 bonus experience for each activated seal in play. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we get 4 experience. And now we need to record that Dr. Amy Kensler has an additional damage on her, and that Rold has 3 damage on him. And proceed to checkpoint 3, the other side. Checkpoint 3, the other side. The other side 1. You awaken in a haze on the other side. You have no idea how long it's been since you crossed the threshold of the gateway. Proceed to the other side 2 if you wish to do so immediately, or skip to other side 3 if you wish to take a break and proceed the next time you play. Well, we're going to be taking a break because it is like 1:45. You rest and gather your strength. Soon you will end this, once and for all. In the Heart of Madness section of the campaign log, under Seals Placed, draw each activated seal that was on the Gate of Ifiqua when the game ended. So 3 of them. And then draw each one that was controlled by an investigator when the game ended. Clean up the game as normal. Okay. When you're ready to play, begin at the Heart of Madness Part 2. And that's where I will catch you in the next video. That was a very tricky scenario. I think that maybe playing a little recklessly early on with Stella kind of put me in a bad position. But, you know, being what it is, I think that I actually performed that pretty well. That last turn was definitely risky. But it did get me an extra activated seal, not one that we placed, but one that we got. And that's pretty good, I think. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Appreciate it. And I'll see you next time in the Heart of Darkness Part 2. Excuse me, the Heart of Madness Part 2. Cheers.